Hello, welcome back to our 36th episode of the Sunday Live interview. It's so hot that I will try to do my best stay in front of my camera. And tonight, for our 36th episode, I have an amazing woman, an amazing artist, an amazing author of lovely books for kids. But tonight, we are going speaking about Isabel Davis, the author of the Froggit Froggins. So we say, uh, get welcome. The connection, sorry. Okay, I have some little problem with the connection. Okay, is it, the internet?
I think you're frozen.
Sorry.
Okay. Hi, hello. Hi, I'm Isabel Davis, and I Froggins here. This book here for children. It's all about a frog and his journey to find his dreamy dream pond. Okay, I am an artist and I illustrated the book and I wrote the story as well. I'm a teacher. I've spent many years teaching reception age children and nursery children, and I feel really blessed to have spent many years teaching in that area. I've also taught adults art as well, so I've done some of that. The reason why I wrote the book is because I'm really concerned about conservation and the fact that we need to recycle more, and the difficulty that faces our wildlife. And I've just felt so sad every time I saw animals getting stuck inside of bits of plastic, or fish thinking that a cigarette, brightly coloured cigarette lighter in the water was indeed a fish when it wasn't, and all things like that. So I thought to myself, of being a teacher and focusing on a young age, I wanted to get the message across to start looking after our environment. And so I wrote Froggit Froggins, and poor Froggit Froggins, he's in search of a dreamy dream pond, because the pond that he lives in is just polluted and it's full of rubbish, and because it's polluted, there's nothing growing in it. There's no flowers, there's no lily pads to lie on, there's no flies or anything to eat. And then one day, he as he's off searching for a pond, he thinks he sees a beautiful lily pad and a flower, and he's so happy, and he jumps out and he goes over to swim, and he thinks this is a beautiful, beautiful flower, but actually it isn't. It's an onion bag. It's a discarded onion bag, and the lily pad is really bubble wrap. And he doesn't realise this, and so the story goes, he needs rescuing. And so I won't say any more. You're no doubt, if you buy the book, you'll get to the end. But anyway, it's all about his plight and the innocence of animals, and how they're relying on us, really, to help them. But I wrote it in a way that's accessible for small children, that gets a message across, but it's not, it's worrying for them, but not too worrying, but worrying enough for them to really think about what they're doing at home, and perhaps get into early habits of recycling and putting rubbish away. So I think it's my care for the environment. That's what drove me to write this book, and to help children. So that's why I did it. Yeah.
And so, Isabel, I'm very glad to have you tonight because you have the opportunity to speak to our audience about something that is important, like preserve our environment from a kid point of view, because your book is for kids, but
Yes.
at the same time, your book is for humans, for adults people.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. The book raises issues of. It's not just a story about rescue. It also goes into, differences in relationships, and just generally the things that we face growing up, and the things we face day to day as adults as well, like forgiveness. There's an element of forgiveness in the book, where Froggit doesn't share, and he upsets Betty the Badger, but then later on Betty the Badger actually becomes the heroine. So she forgave him, and it's about forgiveness, and it's also about teamwork as well. It's about pulling together,
hmm,
helping each other to get through difficulty. There's an element of that as well, and kindness. And also, there's another crucial thing I wanted to get across to children, and this applies to adults as well. I think sometimes we think that on our own we're not big enough to help, and I wanted to get the message across, uh, that we're not too small to help. We're never too small to help. And in fact, in the story, the person who really, the character who really makes the difference is a small dragonfly called Florrie. And Florrie is flapping around and flying around. She can see what's happening, and she can see that the animals need rescuing. And she's really trying to help. And she then goes to find Betty the Badger, and she says, "I'm too small to help." But actually, in the end, she was the one who did help, as small as she was, because she was able to fly off and to say to Betty, they need help. You need to cut them free. You need to use your sharp teeth. And so in that way, that teaches children that they're not too small to help, that anything they do to help the environment, to help caring for wildlife, can actually make a difference. And I think as adults as well, sometimes we think, well, what can I do? I'm and I feel like that sometimes. What can I do? And then then I have to think, problem solve, right? Okay, I can do more of this, or I can help more here, or so it can, these elements pop up in our day-to-day lives as adults as well, and those elements of relationships like forgiveness and your friendship and teamwork, and sharing. Unless it's cake.
and yes, exactly, because when I have see for the first time your book, I have kept this message that is very deeper, and then is a way for us as adults to be relaxed, maybe after a busy day at work with the family and kids, and reading a book that can teach us how to love ourselves, relate ourselves
Yeah.
with the other people, and
Yes.
how to be engaged with our kids.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, that's the joy of reading with your children, is that you share that special time at the end of the day. And I did that with my daughter as we read through her books, and it's a quiet time of day where you can sit together and you can talk about all the things that come up in the story. And in fact, in Froggit Froggins, at the very last page, there's some questions and answers that you can ask your child and discuss together. And they're questions on the story itself. So children get to sequence the events, and they get to talk about their favourite character, and you know, the difference in wildlife, and they also get to discuss things on conservation, like what does endangered mean, and you know, things like that. So it's quite a lot of questions and a lot of discussion possible with this book, which is really, really nice. And that helps actually with relationship between parent and child, or just an adult and child, or teacher and child, or, you know, it's having that conversation and, you know, helping each other to understand, really. And it's just a story time is always, you know, can be a real special time, you know. Yeah, so that was another idea. That's why I put the questions at the end, because I thought this is a good way to build on a relationship, to, you know, to have a good discussion, and
Yes.
children love, you know, talking about their ideas and stories as well. Yeah. So
Then exactly is a good way to understand better themselves, because when the kids going out in the park, the garden center, they can see animals, pets, little frogs, fishes. They can
yeah,
relate better because they know the value of these little animals, the plants, insects. So they
yeah,
can use
yeah,
your book in a proper
yeah,
way, because it's something realistic. They can use all the time when you go in the park with the grandfather, grandmother, with
yeah,
their classmates around some places, so they can enjoy
yeah,
read the book because something real. They can say, "Oh wow, this flower is in the book. This insect is in the book." So they can imagine the
yeah.
story in their reality. It's beautiful.
Yes, yes, that was the idea. And at the very end of the story, Froggit Froggins does actually find. I'll let you in on a secret. It's in the book, but I tell you, he did actually find his dreamy dream pond, and it happened to be in the Paradise Conservation Park. So,
Ah,
and it's just wonderful. You know, it's free of pollution, and it actually shows children how life can be if we take care, if our general environment is if the world was a conservation park. Wouldn't that be great? You know, not just selected bits of land, but we treated the whole world as a conservation park. Life would be really, really good. And actually, I just wanted to pick up as well, you were saying about discussions when children are out and about, and then looking at the book. And another reason why I wanted to write this book is that I wanted to transport children into a different world as well, and show them a different world, and introduce them to different animals and ideas. And I just, you know, had so much fun illustrating it as well. And I was really careful not to illustrate it in a way that would be shocking, but it's still, well, the child will understand that, you know, not recycling and all this rubbish that's around the world, and the animals are really, they can be in real difficulty, and the book highlights that. So yeah.
exactly. In fact, I decide to review you because I still remember one day I went through a park walking and seeing parents teaching the wrong way how to respect the park. They threw away the rubbish. And so I told myself, if I have the opportunity to give your book to this family, maybe they can change their mindset, how to respect the environments, to enjoy the nature as well. So
Yes.
I decided to put something different in my interviews with a different topic, because I usually speak about a relationship, but tonight is about a relationship between humans and the nature, animals. And
Yes.
then our ambassadors are kids in these cases, and the little frog.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They're the next generation coming up. And I remember when I was a child, we didn't recycle. We, basically didn't have a clue.
Yeah,
That wasn't
I remember.
expected of us. And so things will change and things will get better. And now children especially are aware, and they're becoming more aware, and that's great, because they're the generations coming up now who are really going to make the difference. And our relationship with one another is really paramount, but also caring, and our relationship with natural world is so important. That to develop that nurturing side where to care, to make an effort,
Yes,
and that for a well-rounded society, I think that's great. Like I said, wouldn't it be brilliant if the whole world was a conservation park because we cared? And we talked about it, and children grew up discussing it, so Froggit Froggins and his friends, will live happily ever after, because so I have high hopes for the future. I'm
yes,
optimistic anyway. Seeing what's being
yes.
done. Yeah, generally with
And
you know.
I suppose, yes, as you told before, the kids are getting more aware about
Yes.
their future, their environments.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I would like to show to our friends at home some pages
Yes.
drawing, so they can
Yes.
see about your characters, who is a
Okay.
Froggit, who is the
Right.
other ones, because I like it to show them some more.
Okay. This is a picture of Froggit when he first finds his. He thinks it's wonderful, the beautiful flower, but it's not really. It's whoops.
Yes,
Can you
that's
see that? He's
wow.
saying, no,
Yes,
no, you can't. It's for me, only for me. He's not going to share with Betty. And poor old Betty, I don't know if you can see her.
yes, on
She's
the other
actually
side.
crying.
Wow.
So, and then this is a page where he's so happy. He thinks he thinks the lily pad is brilliant because it's springy, it pops because it's bubble wrap. But then he needs rescuing. Let me see if I can find the page here. This is what then happens. And he gets caught. And it's an onion bag. And all that playing has made the bag. He's been caught up in the bag and he didn't realise. And he's still on the bubble wrap. He's lost his flower. His flower's in the water. His eye is sore. And he's got a sore finger as well there. And kids obviously relate to that. And Gus here swims out to help. And so that's Gus and Degsy the duck. What's going on? He asks. And he swims out to help too. But look what happens. They all get stuck. Can you see the onion
Yes.
bag has wrapped itself? There it is. And they need rescuing. And I will show you I won't show you all of the story, but I will show you the very last page at the conservation park.
Ah,
There he is. So it's a
this
happy
is amazing.
ending. Children love happy endings, so there's a few snippets. And by the way, I'm a great fan of frogs. I like frogs. But
Me too.
yeah, so
I still, no, please carry on. Carry on.
well, anyway, so the process of writing it and illustrating it was interesting. That was a good experience, and in a way, it kind of tests your relationships as well with your friends. Because I have a very good friend called Nicola. Now, Nicola is really excellent at graphic design, and sometimes I'd get stuck. 95% of the drawings were drawn by hand. The last 5% I put into Adobe, into Photoshop and Illustrator. And InDesign was sometimes I would do something like, oh, what's happened here? And I'd ring Nicola, please come and help. So in a way, the process of writing this book actually highlighted some of my friends' relationships I have with people, and how actually you work together and you help each other, and then I help her with certain things, and so forth. And so it was it was a good experience, and it was great. I enjoyed drawing, definitely. So yeah.
And then it's lovely because writing a book is always an experience where we have to challenge ourselves, cooperate
Yes,
with
absolutely.
others, make a
Yeah.
research. So writing a book is like a journey.
Yes, absolutely, it is. And there's a lot of skills that I picked up along the way in terms of formatting, and that gave me a headache. I had no idea how to do it. So anyway, I learnt, and so that's another skill I picked up, and it was really interesting to use. I think what I found exciting is developing characters, and when
Ah,
I'm developing characters, I was trying out lots of different art materials. I tried pen and ink, and then I tried watercolors, and then I thought, well, Froggit, does he look good in watercolors? No, it's not strong enough. And then I tried something else, and I tried something else, and then in the end I tried watercolor. I chose, for the illustration, I chose watercolor and Winsor & Newton felt pens, and some fine tipped pens as well for the onion bag, and a little bit of collage. And for the lily pad, I printed the bubble wrap. I actually printed it and then scanned it in. This is where Photoshop came in handy. So I was using all these different elements, and it's just a real joyous task. So
exactly, because I know how much effort you could put, because I've written a book as well, but your is more challengeable because a lot illustration, and then it's for kids. People, they don't know that it's very hard writing a book for kids. Is my opinion. It's not easy as people they can thinking. It's harder
no,
writing.
yeah, no,
Is the
it's not so easy, no. But it's totally enjoyable. So and I really truly hope it helps as well, because being a teacher, this is, children have always been key in my life, and helping them as much as I can, and I've always done that. So if this helps, that's really great. That's good. It's what could be better, really. Yeah.
and Isabel, do you have any experience that is related to writing the book about your story, about you as an author artist? that you want to share with our friends at home?
Um, well, just that I've always drawn, and I've always had. I can remember since I was tiny, I used to enjoy drawing rabbits and really looking
Ah,
closely at wildlife. You know, I've always loved drawing anyway, and I've always had a sense that of natural. I like natural drawing natural things. So yeah, so I've spent my life drawing, and you know, and I've enjoyed reading as well. As a child, I enjoyed my books, and you know, it's especially the books you read over and over again. So um, yeah, and you know, so I think that's really. I think as an adult as well, I mean, I have rescued cats before. I lived in the Middle East for a while, in
ah,
Kuwait. I was teaching there, and I remember we rescued one cat. She really cute, gorgeous cat. We rescued her. She was really ill, and I had to take her in the heat. Oh, it's so hot. I had to take her in the heat in her carry case down to the vets every day for about 4 days in like I say, in the stifling heat. And that poor cat was shaking and trembling with fear. And it had been poisoned, so it was really ill. And I remember one day it managed to just creep down the corridor. It picked up one cat biscuit, and
oh,
that's all it ate all day. Poor thing was really sick. Well, she recovered, and she became, it's true what they say, rescued pets make the best pets. She was just so fun and you know, affectionate. And then after that, about 6 months later, we rescued, which probably, because I think the other cat was from the same litter, a brother, because he had a big gaping wound. And I thought, oh dear. So anyway, I went again to the vets with a carry case and a shaking, trembling cat. And then he was okay too. So we rescued two cats, and we've always just taken care of any animal that's needed it, that's either flown down the chimney here or been stuck in the garden, or
of course.
you know. Yeah, so that's my experience, and that in terms of recycling, I make sure that I do,
Ah,
and I do help. You know, sometimes with picking up litter. There's lots of community things where you can do litter picks and things like that. So and just generally taking part in, you know, charity things for conservation, and I try and keep up to date as well with good news, you know, with new proposals and things. So because I want to know what's going on. So you know, that's yeah. So that's on my side, you know.
yes, think we are similar because for instance, I try don't kill spiders, little insect bees. I take care when I find something on my bed. I move, I put out from the window.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do that.
Yes,
Even the big beetles in Kuwait, I used to pick them up in tissue, and they're quite big, I tell you. Anyway, and then I used to go outside and put it outside. Yeah.
especially in the winter, it's getting.
Uh,
And I wonder, do you have any sequel about your book? Are you planning to write a second book about the Froggit Froggins?
well, I'm working on some characters at the
Ah,
moment, and yeah, so and I'm working on a storyboard, so that takes time. At the moment, I'm not only working on the storyboard, but I'm also looking at illustrations as well. This time, you know, I have to figure out a few things or how to, you know, illustrate, and so this is a time of experimenting experimenting
yes.
and just seeing what happens really, and So it's a fun time. It's a fun time. There's a lot of unknowns at the moment until till things develop and move along. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's an experience. I like, but I hope to buy your book to send to my nephew because your story is useful for them because they can appreciate the environments, but at the same time, they can learn how to relate themselves with other people
Yes.
because the
Yeah.
story is based on the relationship, on the team working, and so for the kids it's important
Yeah.
to read themselves with a proper way to create the nice environment and be surrounded by wise people with
Yeah.
they are role model. Then maybe to have a poor model to be important. But in this case, your story is the right story that our kids need. And your story is for kids from which kind of age?
Okay, so ideally it's for early years children.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, it's from from say 1.5 up to 5, even key stage one, year one
Ah,
could could actually read this because of the questions at the back. Some of the questions quite challenging when you talk about extinction, which animals are extinct and what does it mean, and endangered, and it covers all those things. But nursery and reception children, early years children, it's absolutely ideal. It's ideal for them. Yeah, and that's yeah. So
infatti, I like it because um, the children now they like going to the park, and then when it starts raining, they can see frog everywhere, so they can say, "Oh wow, look, mommy, look at the frogit froggies."
yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah,
good way for themselves to appreciate. Then it's getting very rare to find frogs on the countryside because nowadays with the pollution,
yeah.
it's not easy to find a proper frog around the countryside. So for
No.
them, it's a good way to learning about an animal that is getting rare. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
and so we have an overview about your book, your story, your future, your plan. So I wonder if you have any gift for our friends at home that maybe they are
Yes.
interested to see your book, read the book, share your book because your book is lovely. They can share with friends and kids as well.
Yes, yes, I do. I have a book, a free book to give away, and
Okay.
it's for someone if they would like to send me a photograph, a recent photograph of some wildlife in their garden, and they can send it through my website, and then I'll choose one, and you can help me, Christian, choose one, and
Yes,
I'll
of
send you
course.
a book. I'll send you a book if you give me your address. And also, if you'd like to order a book, you can order it directly from me, and at a discount, then cheaper than it would be on Amazon. So you can order direct from me for $5.99.
Wow. So
Yes.
they have this opportunity to have this book discounted. And then is a challenge because they can make a picture of themselves in the garden. And there's something lovely to see because it's a great opportunity, especially for kids and parents.
Yeah.
I would like to
Yeah.
show a little bit more your book, your cover, and the back cover.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. So design is your cover. And could you please show us the back cover? Okay. So exactly. So people they can see I like too much. I have to give the compliments to the illustrator as well, because of the illustration are very nice, and they are related appropriately to the story.
Yeah.
It's something nice.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Christian. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And in the end, I want to say, so do you have any plan for your summer? Any maybe are you going to the stage on the some library or some bookstores around London, so people they can meet you somewhere this summer?
Ah, yes, yes. Actually, if people just keep every now and again going onto my website, then I'll post
Okay.
where I am on there. Or actually on Instagram,
Ah,
it will be Izzy Pigeon Scratch on
okay.
Instagram. Yeah. So yeah. And as for the summer, well, I'm so looking forward to going away. I think after all the restrictions, it'd just be
Yes,
nice.
you are in the cage now.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're in the last legs of this pandemic. Hopefully, whew, yeah, whew. So I look forward to just things really easing now and not having to book everywhere. Because I love going to different places, but everywhere now you have to book, and it's such a pain.
Yes.
It's funny, you don't realise just quite how much freedom, we had. I didn't realise until it's taken away, and then think, I could just walk into museums before, or I could just walk into a restaurant, I could just walk into a park or a National Trust place or wherever it is. And now you can't do that. You have to book. So I don't think I'll ever take things quite for granted again, and I look forward to better days now,
Yes, exactly.
as we all do.
Then we have the time to think appropriately about how is beautiful the Great Britain. So people they stay in the country, they go out with their
Yeah,
kids, exactly enjoying park, lakes, go to the riversides, and go to do picnics with respect for the environment, of course. Collect your
yeah,
rubbish.
yeah. We are so lucky here. We are so lucky. It is really beautiful. England is so beautiful. The Cotswolds is lovely. The coastline is lovely. There's lots to see and do. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice here. So it's just the weather. We're not never quite sure how it's going to turn out, but it's beautiful. We are blessed. So yeah. Mm.
And before ending our nice interview, do you have any suggestion to our friends at home about environments? So just to
Um, yeah, I think just really, as I said earlier, it just to as a family unit to work as a team, and I'm sure that's what most people are doing now. But I think for small children to definitely get into the habit, because they're the generations that are going to be crucial, and in the future. And just keep up the good work, of recycling. And I see that a lot of families are really doing well, and they're really concerned, and that's great. That's why I'm optimistic. Really, I am. So yeah.
me too. So we put our hearts in our kids' generation, and of course
Yes.
to Froggy Froggins, our ambassador
Yes.
in this
Yes.
moment.
Yes. Froggit Froggins. We have to save Froggit Froggins.
Yeah, maybe it become a motto in the future. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes, that's right.
So,
Save Froggit Froggins. Oh,
so Isabel,
actually,
I was delighted. Yes. Sorry,
yes. No,
carry
no,
on. Please.
no, no. It's
No, I
okay.
was It was a delight in having you as my guest, and I learned more about environments. I learned more about how to write down a book for kids. I know that it's not easy writing a book for our children. So it was very useful for me to share more about yourself, your book, and I hope maybe in advance have you again with another interview and of course with another book. What do you think?
Yes, that'd be great. That would be very good, Christian. Thank you so much for inviting me on your live show. I really
Thank you
enjoyed
so
it.
much.
And thank you, everybody.
Take care and enjoy this beautiful summer.
Okay, and you. All right, bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.